Hello, all you hardcore boxing fans out there. How you doing? It's Russ here from Porky's Corner, and still the biggest gob in sport. Uh, well, I hope you all enjoyed Big Trip's debut yesterday. Although people keep telling me he's called Triple R or something. I don't know. Has he got loads of aliases? But listen, everybody's welcome. If anybody's got a problem with how I have on here, simple question is. Don't watch. Do you know what I mean? Don't watch. Nobody's forcing you to watch. Right. Let's give a big shout out to Curtis Woodhouse. Hope you're well, Curtis. We'll have you on in the next couple of days. Peter De Freitas, we'll have you on. And any at Rest at Commission lads. I think Cameron's back from Saudi on Wednesday, Thursday. So I'm hoping we're going to get the channel tidied up a bit on front at website. There's a few I'm going to fire off, and there's a few I'm going to put on. So it is what it is. All right. Uh, it's the big show at Ipswich this weekend. Fabio Wardley. I think the show's absolute. I don't know really. I can't say pony because there's been that much crap served up lately, but it's not what it was 6 or 7 years ago, is it? We're scraping barrel now. But who do I think is going to win between Wardley and that Justice Hooney? People keep saying, Porky, it's a 50-50, it's a 50-50. Well, look, this is how I look at it. Wardley lets his hands go, right? So he's not obviously bothered about getting caught, is he? So he's going to be chasing it on front foot. So I'm going to go Wardley by KO. All right. So if not, what's he had about 20 fights, Wardley? It's about time he stepped up. But I just think with mindset he's got, I just think he runs over this kid, and I think he probably runs over most of them, to be honest. Except your elite ones, your Usyks and people like that. But if we put Anthony Joshua in with Wardley, who would you put your money on? Would you back Derek Chisora to beat Wardley? Would you back Dillian the Canman White to beat Wardley? Would you back Joe Joyce to beat Wardley? Would you back the Rhino, the lazy Rhino? No, you wouldn't. Would you back Solomon Dakras? No, you wouldn't, would you? None of them would get backed against Wardley. So it is what it is. Speaking of the Rhino, we've been a bit quiet for the last 4 hours, hasn't he? He had shit up for 3.5 weeks. Who's the Rhino got next? Well, they've got a contract to fight Fisher, haven't they? Next, you'd have thought that will still be in force, but I would have thought they'd give Fisher a run out somewhere else, park the Rhino up, then throw the Rhino a bone. That's how it works, isn't it? When you're the in-house fighter, and Fisher, for me, is the in-house fighter. He does all the tickets. His dad, Daddy Fudd, he's out there selling tickets for Elmer and pushing himself as well because he loves a bit of fame, doesn't he, the father? And he's had that many free Chinese and he's blown up like a balloon. But I think they'd look to do that. Will they stay with Mark Tibbs? We've gone over this a few times. I think they should. And I'm not saying that because he's a pal of mine. I mean, Mark Tibbs can only do his best with what he's got, kind of. If they got him to 12-0, or however many fights he'd had, and an area belt, he'd obviously done well, hadn't they? But it's going to that next level. So is it a bump? It's like Clinton Woods did against Dave Starry. But Clinton Woods came back, didn't he? Ended up winning British, Commonwealth, European, and a world title, IBF for champion over 3 years. So it can be done. So we'll see, won't we? But I think they'd probably get a new trainer on board and look to blame somebody. First you're angry, then you're upset, then you look for somebody to blame. And when you've got dads in boxing think they know everything. Now everybody's like Enzo Calzaghe, but he had an open class kid, didn't he, from day one? A bit like Virgil Hunter, he had Andre Ward open class from day one. Right? What has Virgil Hunter done with anybody else? He's not won a belt. He's got fighters put on button moan. Absolutely had fighters bladdered. So it is what it is. But I'd look at them getting a new trainer and see how far they can take Elmer Fudd, aka young Johnny Fisher, Johnny Bosch. Yeah, and the Bosch Army, the Romford Bull, all that. It's all wore a little bit thin now, isn't it? It's all a bit cheesy and a bit cringe, isn't it? You see where I'm coming from? But it is what it is. So where's the Rhino going? I see him being parked up. Adam Smith, aka Super Bean, the man that will leave in boxing to try different things and still works in boxing, but not at Sky. The man that didn't get his send off at Sky. Why's that? You know why you didn't get your send off, Mr. Bean, at Sky. Why don't you come out and tell everybody that when you're going on all these coppers channels? Hey, tell us why you didn't get your super send off at Sky. Super Bean after 29 years, but Dave Clark got his. And he'd done nowhere near the time you had. Why is that, Super Bean? So, where's Elmer Fudd go now? They'll rebuild him, won't they? Get a new trainer. Where's Rhino go? He's parked up. Where's Wilder go? I don't really know and I don't care. Dylan White, where's he going? Hanging around like a bad smell for Joshua. He wants paydays, doesn't he? White's the only guy fighting in the next few days at Portman Road on the Fabio Wardley undercard. He's the only guy that's fighting TBA. Now, let me tell you this. Don't be surprised if White doesn't fight. All right. He's just on there to get a bit of profile boost and get a few tickets sold. But don't be surprised if Dylan White doesn't fight. But is Wilder's goose cooked? Yes. Is Dylan White's goose cooked? Yes. Is Joe Joyce's goose cooked? Yes. Is Derek Chisora's goose cooked? Yes. Are they the words of Sam Jones? Isn't that right, Samuel Jones? Telling people whose gooses are cooked, but you haven't got a problem with them hanging around in the sport to top up the pension. Well, I've got a problem with that. Because these fighters here, your Wilders, your Whites, your Joyces, and your Chisoras, are running around like headless chickens, telling YouTubers and people in the media that they are stronger, that they are faster, that they are quicker than a speeding bullet, and that they are eating kangaroo meat, and they're really up for the comebacks and all this. What? I don't want to hear that. Hear about them hanging around sport like bad smells and Sam Jones not having a problem with it. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear about people like Joseph Parker and Wardley. Do you know what I mean? And Lawrence Okoli, bogeymen. They're the bogeymen of the division. Now, do you know, like in past, it used to be Luis Ortiz, didn't it? Huey Fury. You know, where you're going to have an hard night and you're not going to drop them and they can actually box and that. Do you know what I mean? Well, Huey's missed the boat on it and Ortiz has goose has cooked, isn't it? So, but like I said, it's these guys, your Parkers, your Wardley, Lawrence Okolas. They're the men that need to be in fights. Now, Wardley's got one this weekend against Justice Hooney. Lawrence Okoli and Parker have got nothing. They're not being thrown a bone, are they? Probably because they're not commercially viable. That's probably why that is. But hey ho, it's just one of them, isn't it? It is what it is. Fury and Joshua, though. I mean, it's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. They've teased us now. 14 year next month, isn't it? Since they sparred. 14 year. 14 year we've been talking about this. And now look, they've been down eight, they've had 19, they've had 18 counts, but really it should be 19. Because Big Meech, aka Anthony Joshua, he had a touch, didn't he, in the Dubois fight? Do you know what I mean? I think he might have had another one in the Ruiz fight as well. So 18, 19, 20 times, whatever. We've got 18 official knockdowns for Fury and Joshua. 18 counts. One's got 4 losses. One's got 2 and a draw, but he should really have another couple on there. He should have an Ngannou and a John McDermott loss. And probably Steve Cunningham for fouling when he knocked Cunningham out, because that were a foul, wasn't it? But it is what it is. But the point I want to make is this. These two have been knocked about, and the brass neck on them to actually fight. Well, I'm going to tell you what I've heard. I've heard they're going to fight, but just not yet. But when they do fight, it's going to be in Saudi. And they do not care what British fans think whatsoever. They're going to go to Saudi. After you've bought into this for 14 years, they're going to fight in Saudi. And if you want to watch, it's going to be 5-6 grand. That's what these people, Big Meech and the Big GK, Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, that's what they think about British fans that have bought into this for 14. Probably when they do fight, it'll probably be about 15 years, then they go to Saudi. And what they do, they get our faces and they rub it in shit. Like, if a dog shits or a cat shits and it's a pup, sometimes you rub the face in it, don't you, if they keep doing it. I've seen people do that. I don't agree with it, but that's what these are doing. Or shall I put it like I usually do? They're stood in penthouse, they've got the cocks out, and they're lagging on us all. Yeah, that's what's happening. But these will go where the money is. They don't care for British fight fans. So why should we care for them? We've got Joshua, who's scared of his own shadow. They daren't put him near anybody. And then they've got Fury, who's waiting to see what Joshua's doing. And both of them want to get the other one in the ring and get knocked about a bit more, don't they? So it's a bit easier for when they do fight. So I'm a bit cheesed off about it, to be honest, because we've had enough, haven't we, really? About them, haven't they? They've had $250 million each out of the job. And they're still wanting to get it going, aren't they? Well, they're saying Joshua's signed a 2-fight deal, aren't they, over there? Blah, de blah. And look, it's all pie in the sky in it until they get in a ring. I'm not interested in contracts and all the way and all that. I want to see some people in ring. Every other week we see Lawrence Okoli or Dylan White's names put to somebody, or even Max Dennis's fighter. They keep putting these fighters' names to somebody, or Wilder or Joyce, and then Parker as well, and Coley and all of them, and then Chisora even as well. And then near at time, they get pulled, don't they? So let's talk about Joshua and Fury when they've actually had a press conference and they're in the ring. Okie doke. Anyway, moving on from the adventures of Tintin and the heavyweight division, which is absolute shino at the moment. Everybody's parked up, aren't they? We've got a show on coming up. Josh Kelly against Flavius Bahia at 154. I want to see Josh Kelly in some proper fights now. I want to see him in with Crusher Ben. They've talked about that at welterweight, didn't they, back in the day? So Felix Cash, he's back. So that's good, isn't it? Felix Cash back this Friday on Channel 5 on a Nissi Sewer Rat show. That's Sauerland. I call them sewer rats because of what they tried to do with the Crusher Ben fight against Eubank Jr. They tried to cover it all up, didn't they? The sewer rat family. So that's what I call them shithouses. So it is what it is. So is Flex still about? Is he training anybody? Flex, who are you training? And are you going to be seen on the big stage again, Flex? Or will it just be in case you dig up Kid Galahad or Special K. Kell Brook or Ebony Bridges? Is that when you'll be seen again, Flex? Because nobody's seen note from you. Do you know what I mean? We're not seeing any graft. So somebody else who we might not be seeing any graft from as well. Joe McAnally. Go to Joe McAnally. He's the best. The new Dark Lord. We had all that, didn't we, from Adam Boove. He went missing, didn't he? But he's back on scene, and he is a pundit. He seems to have got Bombay Dave's job at Sky now. It's all going off, innit? Can't Horsecock put a word in for Bombay Dave and get him back on Sky? What's going on there? Is it lion bars in the fridge? Hey, or is it Kit Kats in the larder? What is it? So I see Talksport are bigging up Anthony Yard against Mundo Smith, aren't they? They're doing their best to get in with these promoters, aren't they? Really, Talksport, and do the job for Eddie Hills, the 7-0 Iceman from Billericay, by way of course. And then we've got Bricktop, old Dinted, back on his perch. Hey, when you've got people like Simon Jordan and Juggiers Oliver and Jim Royal Smith coming out there, going into bat for Mundo. I mean, did you hear it when Simon Jordan were going on about who they beat? Because, well, his best wins, George Groves, and Paul Smith fired back. Yeah, but your best wins are losses against Beterbiev and Kovalev. Well, that's true, Paul Smith, but he beat Lyndon Arthur, didn't he? So, is there much difference between Lyndon Arthur and Groves? Not really. Not that much, is there? Lyndon's won an IBO, Groves was a champion, but Groves been knocked out, hasn't he? By time Callum Smith got in with Groves, Frotchard had his hands on him, Baddo Jack, and a lot of them, hadn't they? They'd all touched Groves up. Plus, Groves only had one arm. If you don't believe me, go and ask Shane, Johnny Bravo, McGuigan, he'll tell you. So, Paul Smith, is he in order there, sticking up for Callum? Well, he's going to do it. It's his brother and he's going to be biased, isn't he? But Callum Smith's a giant mute. Old crater face. Scorpions out of Greece in him who goes with Rizzo. Look, it is what it is, isn't it, right? Paul Smith's brother, Callum, his CB is piss poor for the millions he's got in his bank. That's the bottom line. And Anthony Yard either fights Lyndon Harper or killers or just straight bin men. That's it. So Tunde Ajayi, I think Paul Smith won the argument there. Callum Smith's CV is better. A lot better. But at least he went distance with Canelo. He's not been knocked out. I'd make Callum Smith a favourite in that fight against Anthony Yard because if Anthony Yard can't land on him, he'd just get peppered all night long, I'm afraid. He'd get peppered old Yard. So it is what it is. And as regards Beefy Smith's best win, that's a shot Eubank. So Callum Smith's best win's a shot Groves. Beefy's best win is a shot Eubank. Paul Smith's best win is Tony Dodson, and I couldn't tell you about Swifties. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the Smiths laid bare. The Beatles of boxing. Lion bars in the fridge. So, but Paul Smith, stop being the PR man for your two brothers. Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. Concentrate on Darren Till's career. Because Darren Till's got plenty to say for himself, but he's not fighting anybody, is he? With a heartbeat. That's the bottom line. Although I like Darren Till. I like him for sticking it on little Johnny Fury, who's gone missing, hasn't he? Where's little Johnny? Little Johnny Fury. Thought he were fighting Mickey Fio or Joe Egan. He's fighting nobody. So there you go. But the Wardley show this weekend, boys and girls. But who's to say that the Rhino won't get the Wardley fight? Anything's possible. They could even put Chisora and Rhino on, couldn't they, really? But keep a close eye on Joseph Parker. But what people don't keep a close eye on is when promoters are slipping people in the rankings. Quietly, oh, very quietly. Nobody pays attention to stuff like that. The fighters getting put in rankings and they're moving up in ranking, yet they're coming off back of losses. So it is what it is. Which brings me to Usyk Dubar. Not long now. Is the fixing? Is the fixing on Usyk Dubar? Not so sure. I met Dubar an underdog in that fight because Usyk's he's just got it all, hasn't he, Usyk? 335 and 15 as an amateur. He's undefeated as a pro. Cruiserweight and heavyweight as a pro, undisputed. And then as an amateur, he's like European world, Olympic gold, WBSS gold, done joystick final. Look at the guys he's beating UK. Fury twice, Joshua twice, Bellew knocked him out. He knocked Chisora about. Daniel Dubois is going to fight him again. There you go. Usyk's the man. He's fighting guys up to 6 inch taller and up to 4 stone heavier. I don't see I know you and Crawford doing that. Although Crawford's fighting Canelo and I've got him to beat Canelo, but I don't see Crawford getting in there with any bridger weights because that's the difference to what Usyk's doing. So that's why Usyk is the best fighter in the world. All right. Do I want to see Yard against Smith? Yes, I do. Do I want to see Boatsi against Willie Hutchinson? Yeah, I'd like to see that one. I like that one. Yeah, I want to see that. So it is what it is. I like Willie Hutchinson. I like Willie Hutchinson a lot. I think he did well in that fight. But it's boxing, isn't it? It's the wild, wild west. So it's a wild, wild west. But it is what it is. But do I like rematches? Yeah, I like rematches, and I'd like to see Willie Hutchinson against Boatsi. I mean, it was a split decision win for Boatsi, that. So, although I don't know what the referee were on like, who had it the other way around. Uh, but it is what it is, isn't it? Gregos Malender, he had it 112, 113. I mean, wow. The other one referee had it, Salvador Salva, 117, 108. So, how can you be 10 rounds out in a 12-round fight? So, was the fixing? I don't know. WBO interim, but it is what it is. It is what it is, isn't it? But what can you do? So, okie dokie. So I've got Daniel Dubois to get beat against Usyk. Let's just hope it's a good fight. All right. Go on, peace out. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. We're probably going to have Andy on this week, Canada Bob, and all the rest of chaps. We'll get back into some sort of routine again. So, okie dokie. So, peace out. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment. Want having a dig at Flex? But Flex, who is you training besides doing interviews on Copper's channels on a daily basis? Who is you training? You're a trainer and you're doing interview after interview, but you're not training anybody and you don't train amateurs no more at your gym. So what is your job in boxing? Are you just on the area council, Flex? What are you doing in boxing? What is your role? Can that Copper, or you keep whose channel you keep going on for a free electric car? Can that Copper ask you, what's your role, Flex, in boxing at the moment? I'd like to know, apart from putting your expense sheets into the board in area council. All right, go on, peace out. Pop, pop, bang. Booyaka. Thanks for liking and subscribing and leaving a comment.